And we are good.
Good to go.
Let's talk about Queenstown.
Yeah, let's talk about it because we get so many questions about Queenstown.
But yeah, we get asked so much about Queenstown and about Bali. We have the top rated travel guides for both Bali and for Queenstown now, which is pretty cool. It's both of them.
Yeah, we just updated the Queenstown one, by the way.
We did. But rather than just gatekeep all of that information only for the paying people, obviously all the main best information is in there. But like we get so many questions and we get it. Not everybody can buy the guide. So we were like, let's sit down, let's have a chat. We share some info on the vlogs as well. You would have seen the last 2 or 3. But we're also like, let's scroll through some questions, and there's that. Do you want to start with that one about Queenstown there?
Yeah, this one. Questions about Queenstown. Have you been to China?
Might have missed the brief, bud.
Missed the brief. But one that came through quite a lot was, what are the best places to visit with kids?
Well, the good thing about this is if you don't have kids, is that the stuff there is still fun. Like you won't be standing there going like, oh my God. I would say the Earnslaw is super cool because the views, the alcohol, the coffee, and if you're into the history for an adult, sick.
And like kids can still run around as well. Like it's not like you have to sit down the entire time and just be still. You can go at the front, you can look at the engine room, you can watch the coal being shoveled in. Like, it's
and the
quite
staff
cool.
is very kid friendly.
Yeah.
The other thing, which we didn't put in the vlog, but we did for some of our Instagram stuff, is the deer park. Stick with us.
So fun. This place, they kind of call it like a self-drive animal park safari. So you get a gate code, you drive in, there's animals everywhere, but the views.
Best views in Queenstown are actually, and I feel like we're giving away all of this information, they're at the deer park, and that's crazy to believe. And then also Highland coos, stags.
Tiny peaks.
Big,
Goats, baby goats.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly.
Fun for all ages, that one.
The views up there, it's called Deer Park Heights. Like they rivaled the helicopters that we've been in, honestly.
And the Queenstown Hill Hike, which is also, there is actually questions, so I suppose I can semi-jump to that. Queenstown Hill Hike and Bob's Cove are our 2 favourite walks. Totally gone off script there, but to bring it back, what was I about to say?
The kids. Kingpin?
Oh, yeah, yes. The third thing for that would probably be, the Kingpin is something that we talked about just before this, was that they have tempered bowling, they've got heaps of arcade stuff, they've got a VR section, they've got the whole time zone thing.
But again, it's set up for adults as well.
Yeah,
so like
we
went bowling and we got like a beer tower and I don't know, they just figured out a way to make it for lots of different ages. And then obviously you've got your the luge, the gondola, all of the kind of, touristy things. But yeah, I think if you're looking for something slightly unique, those 3 are pretty cool.
Yeah. So, one of the questions was, any hidden gems and best hikes around, which is, as I've said, the hidden gem is definitely that deer park. In terms of the hike, Bob's Cove is really beautiful, really quiet. Every time we've gone there, we've seen no more than like 8 people, 4 other couples out walking, and
it's stunning.
It's such a beautiful place, but you do need to have a car to kind of get out there. Is the luge worth it? You mentioned the luge. Been a long time since we've been on the luge itself.
Maybe for kids, it's like so much fun. And if you've never done it before,
it would be fun. For a stag do, it would be crazy.
But if you've done it before and you're tossing up, you're 50-50, I would say spend your money elsewhere.
But then it is a cool experience going up the gondola.
The gondola's cool.
But it's something that we definitely recommend because you get the views.
If you want to go like a little bit more extreme, once you're up the gondola, you could try out the zip line instead. There's a zip line up there. So there's options. Like you could take the gondola up and then decide on the day.
Is 3 days enough to see most of Queenstown?
If you're talking about central Queenstown only, definitely. But you'd be pushing it to see Gibbston Valley, Arrowtown, Ayrburn, Lake Hayes,
driving,
Glenorchy, Bob's Cove.
We've done 3-day trips before with John and Jess. We did 2.5, and we did heaps, and it was heaps of fun. But it was rushed, man.
Yeah.
The positive of that is that I would go cheaper accommodation, rent a car, and you're going to be out the whole time because there's so much to see and do.
Yeah. If that's your only option and you're happy with just kind of sticking a little bit more central only, definitely that's enough time.
You would do Queenstown Central, Arrowtown,
And that's probably about it.
Which we should mention Airburn, because that's kind of, someone asked about what's the new dining district like.
It is stunning. So if you don't know what Airburn is...
That was in the first vlog.
Yes, it's like Dane just said, it's a dining district, but it's got it's got a salad door, it's got a restaurant, it's called the Dairy, so you can get ice cream from there, and they're expanding it. Like by the time we go back, I'm sure it will have... like a retirement village going in a hotel.
Yeah, I read something the other day. I think it's going to be 11 different restaurants in there. Yeah, so it's going to be mad. That is very, very cool.
I would say it is 1,000% worth a visit, but it is expensive. Mm-hmm. It's quite pricey.
But then that's the feedback we get all the time on our Queenstown videos is people love it,
pricey.
And then they say it's ridiculous, it's so overpriced. I don't get why people go to Queenstown. We kind of feel like you do get what you pay for, and there are very few places in the world now that you get that insane value. I mean, you can look at our Bali content for that as well. We share the prices there, and the quality there in Bali, fortunately, is exceptional.
Really yeah.
Food, coffee, experiences, hotels, whatever. But it's been creeping. It's getting close to what we used to say was New Zealand and Oz prices. Sorry, I'm talking so much about Bali. Anyway, Queenstown. Favourite restaurant. Sorry,
are we finished with Evan?
I finished my coffee and I was like...
Far out. What was the next one? Coffee.
Favourite restaurant.
Well, I have to say that the wool shed at Airburn is up there.
Yeah.
I did really, really enjoy that. Where else? We really like Mora. Mm-hmm. They do an insanely good lamb. Again, expensive.
Yes.
It's expensive, but the quality, like Dane said, like chef's kiss. I got a cheap eat. It's called Smoke and Pickle.
Oh, dude. Whoa.
Is that what it's called?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, take it away.
So the Smoke and Pickle is a food truck run by, I forget his name. I'm sorry, man. Forget the guy. We said hello to him. He's ex top tier chef that was like, I want to make food more accessible, tasty, cheap, and kind of semi-mobile. So he started this food truck. We were lucky enough that they were at the brewery when we went there.
Altitude Brewing.
But they move around a little bit. And the burgers and the chips are like the crispiest things we've ever eaten. It was those classic smashed burger style. I got one of those Philadelphia Flyers vibe going on here. I got a Philly cheesesteak, and everything was unreal. I wish I had the camera just sitting, fly on the wall. Because
Graham was like...
That is literally the best smash burger.
Yeah, and remember, I thought what we said as well was like, better than Fergburger, so...
Yeah, and I mean, we get asked about Fergburger a lot.
There's another question in here. Someone goes, I would actually really like to know your stance on Fergburger versus Devil Burger.
This is a controversial one, and I don't know why, to be honest. We have tried both multiple times, and our personal preference is my personal preference is Ferg. I don't know. I get that it's hyped up. It really is.
And more expensive.
Is it more expensive than
I think a little bit more, yeah.
But it tastes good to me.
Yeah, it's the consistency thing, and it's taste as well, but yeah. So this is what people say is that they have bad experiences at Ferg, and if you've seen the volume that they smash out, it's kind of understandable. Also,
if you don't know, there's an insider tip that's in our guide, which... I don't know, we've probably said it on the channel before.
Giving it all away now.
But I'm not going to say it now. But if you stood in line for hours and you're, I can understand if you go, it's just a burger. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there's a way that you can get the burger faster.
This is a really good one, and something that we faced again coming into town is parking really as bad as everyone says? How can we get around it if we're renting a car?
It is bad.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, it is. So
it's because which is great, they put the pedestrian street in for all the new shopping area downtown. Yeah,
but also all of the parking is essentially paid now. Was it like $3 half an hour, or $6 to $12 an hour, or something like that?
It was expensive.
Yeah, so it's not cheap.
I guess it just comes down to leaving a little bit of extra time. To find a car park, and being prepared that if you want to park close to the city centre, then you're going to have to pay for it.
That main street that runs down along in front of Ridges heading towards Glenorchy, there is parking along there, but everybody knows about it.
Yeah.
So we've found some on there before though.
Yeah. If you're visiting shoulder season, which is our most recommended time to go,
Yeah.
you will struggle less with things like accommodation, parking, reservations, all of that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, someone did ask a big question about seasons. You've kind of already answered it, and we talk about it a lot at the guide as well.
Yeah.
Something we don't talk about now, so it's probably a good one to tackle, is how many sheep live there. Honestly, bugger all.
Queenstown. No.
I don't remember seeing many.
Not-
If any, scribe y'all. Favorite winery. This one is really, really tough, and there's some really cool ways that you can visit the wineries as well. We were really impressed by
Mount Rosa.
I'm so shit with names if you haven't picked up on that.
Mount Rosa.
I visualize it. I can see it, and I'm like trying to remember the name. Yeah,
it's in Gippsland Valley, and we did it on our bike winery tour. I'm so glad that we actually did it.
It's really, I don't say the word often, but it's like, it's very pretty.
Yeah.
And the setting is really nice, and there's vines. So I think that's probably
I think if you are looking for great wine, a really like photogenic spot, and just a great level of service, I would say Amersfield is probably one of the best wineries.
The nicest like looking situation.
Yeah.
K-Jet versus the Shotover Jet. So we haven't done K-Jet, and we recommend the Shotover Jet. There is also another one that is on the lake itself.
I think that still is K-Jet. They just operate in two different areas.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the thing is, we've done the equivalent of like a lake jet and a canyon style jet in various places around the world. It's always better in a canyon. So
much
while
better.
we recommend the Shotover Jet, K-Jet probably is good as well, because that is some kind of a canyon. But I do think that Shotover has the prime part of the canyon. They were
of
there
Shotover
and set
River.
up exactly.
Yeah.
But it's nothing like it's a bit like how people compare skydiving to bungee jumping. Bungee jumping, you have that perspective of like, shit.
I'll do neither because I'm afraid of everything.
But when you go going through the canyon, you get that perspective of the shit that was close, and they literally will like,
honestly
sweep up next to.
There's no other feeling like it.
Yeah.
Just getting that close to these massive boulders, and the river is so shallow.
Yeah, the way
it's so fun.
The jets can skip over is really, really cool. There was one about coffee.
Oh yeah, best coffee.
Coffee in Queenstown. 3 recommendations that come to mind.
Oh, I know what you're going to say.
I'll start further away because it's kind of part of the wider trip. But in Arrowtown,
Wolf Coffee Roasters.
Somewhere in the middle between the two, Black Lab Coffee is very cool in a new district there. In town, I've forgotten the name, but I know exactly where it is. I could walk you there.
Where?
The one that we had the muffin, the
banana bread.
Sorry,
Odd Saint.
Odd Saint. Yeah.
Guys, you've got to go. Okay, enough about coffee. Coffee's great, cool, whatever. But the banana bread at Odd Saint, oh my gosh, I dream of it. It was so good. We literally went back twice in one day because the first time we decided to share it, which was a terrible idea. So we had to go back a second time so that we could have some more.
We did, eh? But is $1,000 enough for 7 days? It's hard to know.
We need more
deets.
how many people, like where do you want to stay, what kind of budget.
Is accommodation included? So one of the reviews that we got on the Queenstown guide was very nicely, kindly, was still 5 stars, but said they wish that there was a bit more budget-friendly accommodation.
A bit more variation.
So we made a real effort this time with the update that Stacey's talking about to go back in to recommend.
Budget, which includes hostels and campgrounds, but also within those hostels and campgrounds, there's often like cabins or private rooms, so it's not just,
You don't have to be in a tent on the ground kind of thing.
And then it goes to mid-range and then luxury.
It all comes down to, and this is something that we always talk about between us, is balance and thinking about before you're going on a trip, what kind of trip are you going for? Are you going for somewhere that, because if you're spending 7 days, $1,000 isn't enough to treat it like we talked about the 3-day, which is you wake up, you go for that brunch at Odd Saint, you go and do the trip out on the Earnshaw, you don't have enough money to treat it like that, in which case you kind of need somewhere that you're going to come and chill and like relax in your accommodation.
The flip side of that as well is like, say you do have 7 days, you're likely going to do, for example, a day trip to maybe Milford Sound or something like that, and that shit costs a lot of money.
It does.
So I would say for 7 days, what did they say? $1,000 US.
Yeah, so which is, oh God, I think it's close to 2K at the moment in New Zealand.
You could do it, 1,000%. You could do it.
You totally could.
But if you want to do everything, go to the best restaurants, go to do all of the activities, I would say you probably need a little bit more.
Yeah. Oh, how was the hydro attack? But by now you've probably seen the vlog. It was sick.
You know what? I got regrets.
I knew you'd have regrets.
Oh, I kind of wish I did it now.
These are like semi-submersible. They can go 2 meters underwater. And we've always seen it and thought about it as quintessential Queenstown, but never actually done the experience. So we finally ticked it off. Well, I did.
That did.
And I thought that you would get that like lose your stomach kind of feeling, which I think is what you don't like. That's what I
thought. Yeah, I thought that I would feel sick.
It's not like that at all. You don't lose your stomach. You feel the speed, you feel the friction, the sort of the smells, because you kind of still get the smell.
You feel like you're in like a really fast car, but that goes up and down as well.
Yeah. It's very tight in there, so if you're claustrophobic, it might not be ideal. It's really beautiful, and it's surprisingly, when you stop, because you like lift off the lid and you kind of have a moment, you're out in the middle of the lake in Queenstown. It's quite special, so I didn't expect to feel so wowed by the beauty of the thing. I thought I would just be pumping the whole time. I would do it again for sure. Yeah, it was totally worth it. Car rental versus transport. It's another one that we've really gone into a lot more detail with links and all sorts in the guide as well. But we, as we've said in our vlogs, we always recommend that you do rent a car. But
so much more freedom, eh?
If you are on a budget, there is bus routes. Yep. There's no trains. There's no trams. This isn't Melbourne. This isn't New York.
You could definitely make it work if you plan ahead, because a lot of the say activities and some of the restaurants like Airburn, they do offer shuttles. So although they're not always free, I know that Onsen also has a shuttle. Shotover Jet has a shuttle from town. So they, these companies that are a little bit further away are well set up to come and get you. So if you are staying close to town, you could definitely make it work. Yeah,
sorry, I feel bad. Like I'm just like scrolling on my phone while you're chatting. But I'm not obviously looking at the other questions. Feel like we've mostly covered it. I'm trying to roughly keep track of time. I think we're already well over 15 minutes.
Did someone ask about cheap eats?
Yeah, there was something about there, but maybe I skipped it because it mentioned more and a few others before that. Eat Space.
Oh, yeah, Eat Space.
Yeah, so there's a new, right in the centre of town, has probably always been a bit of an issue that there's no quick, fast food.
Just a quick insert there. Like, you can go to Fergburger, grab a pie and stuff like that.
Yeah, Ferg's taking over. We also saw the other, was it Mrs. Ferg Gelato?
Yeah, and then there's Baaaaa. Yeah.
So yeah, Eat Space is your standard like shopping mall food court, but classier.
Yeah, so there's sushi, there's Greek, there's Italian, Thai.
You can get like a good coffee, a drink, and like an actual
Korean
alcoholic
fried
drink.
Chicken.
Yeah, I feel like that's probably huge amount of value. I hope.
Yeah.
Is that helpful?
Don't ask the question. Don't ask. People are going to write mean things in the comments.
Nah, that ain't gonna happen.
Now, if you do have a question that we didn't answer, feel free to write it in the comments and we can get back to you.
I think what I'm curious about, how do you like the low-key chat kind of delivery? We've done the top things to do with a voiceover and it's like bam, 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 bam. But we wanted to just sometimes we just want to kind of do this, and that's why we did the...
Well, sometimes you also get like better insights when it's just you having a chit-chat. It feels like we're just having a chit-chat and, you think of different things rather than like it being kind of not really set up, but you know what I mean? Structured. Yeah.
Hopefully it feels like you just sit down and having a coffee with us, which I absolutely sculled, and then I was like skyrocketing off, but...
You drink yours so fast. I feel like mine's only just kicking in. Right, guys, let's go.
From the top.
From the top.
It's because the beans we've got so freshly roasted, they're not particularly strong, so there wasn't like much to sort of savor in those moments, but also I just kind of get it and I just gulp it down like it's a beer anyway.
Yeah, you always do.
Now his face is so almost distorted because it's a wide-angle lens. He's so close to it.
He's just been lying here the whole time.
He looks massive.
Say hi.
The Nalu is massive. Anyway, don't like that, pal. I won't call you that again.
Put it back down.
All right. Catch you later, guys.
Bye.
See ya.